मुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 20. The chapter is entitled The chapter is entitled Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu. And we'll be reading text 29 and 30 today. So this is Prithu Maharaj. After performing the sacrifice, the Lord is speaking to Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj is responding to what the Lord has said. So text 29. Bhajanti atha tvam ati eva sadhavo vyuddhastamaya guna vibhramodayam bhavat padanusmritananda rite satam nimittam anyat bhagavan na vidmahe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Great saintly persons who are always liberated, take to your devotional service, because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. Purport. The karmis are generally engaged in fruitive activities for material bodily comforts. The jnanis, however, are disgusted with searching after material comforts. They understand that they have nothing to do with this material world, being spirit souls. After self-realization, the jnanis who are actually mature in their knowledge must surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Self-realization is not complete unless one comes to the devotional platform. Therefore, it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that those who are Atmarama, self-satisfied, are freed from all contaminations of the material modes of nature. As long as one is affected by the modes of material nature, especially by Rajas and Tamas, he will be very greedy and lusty, and will therefore engage in hard tasks, laboring all day and night. Such false egoism carries one from one species of life into another perpetually, and there is no rest in any species of life. The jnanis understand this fact and therefore cease to work and take to karma sannyas. Yes, this is actually the platform of satisfaction. Yet, this is not actually the platform of satisfaction. After self-realization, the material wisdom of the jnani leads him to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Then he is satisfied only in contemplating the lotus feet of the Lord constantly. Maharaj Prithu therefore concluded that liberated persons take to the devotional path have acquired the ultimate goal of life. If liberation were the end in itself, there would be no question of a liberated person taking to devotional service. In other words, the transcendental bliss derived from self-realization, known as Atmananda, is very insignificant in the presence of the bliss derived from devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj therefore concluded that he would simply hear the glories of the Lord constantly and thus engage his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. So in this verse, devotional service to the Supreme Lord is being glorified. So the translation says, great saintly persons who are always liberated, take to your devotional service, because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. So, Prabhupada is making this comparison between karmis, jnanis, and yogis. So, in the purport, it is said that the karmis are generally engaged in fruitive activities for material bodily comforts. So, a person who is very much in tune with his bodily needs, he's engaged always constantly in trying to satisfy the needs of the body and striving again and again to satisfy the needs of the body. And the Gyanis, they are disgusted with perpetually working very hard to search for material comforts. They actually come to a higher platform by thinking that they are spirit souls and they have nothing to do with self-realization. And but Prabhupada is pointing out actually higher than the karmis and the jnanis are the bhaktas. Because if one is looking for highest satisfaction or self-satisfaction, it comes at a level which is higher than the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. One has to transcend these three modes. And one has to situate oneself on the platform of self-realization. Self-realization means one is in one's relationship with Krishna, and that fully satisfies a person. And there are characteristics basically which define a person who is in the mode of goodness and who is in the mode of passion. People who are in the mode of goodness mode of goodness, they are usually happy and they are always searching after knowledge. Those who are in the mode of passion are always looking for prestige and ways to satisfy one's senses. And those who are in the mode of ignorance are always delighting in activities in the mode of ignorance, which is basically intoxication, sleep, like that. And but there is a price that one has to pay for being in the modes of passion and ignorance, and that is they have to go from one species of life to another species of life. That is the heavy price. They cannot come out of the modes, the cycle of birth and death, by being in the modes of passion and ignorance. Even in the mode of goodness, cannot elevate one from the cycle of birth and death. So Gyanis, like, they understand this fact, so therefore they want to completely cease work. But Prabhupada is not recommending even that, because even if one ceases work, it does not situate one in the stage of self-realization. Just ceasing work cannot fully satisfy the soul. What satisfies the soul is taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, always keeping the lotus feet of the Lord in one's heart. And by fully contemplating about lotus feet of the Lord, one immediately becomes liberated from the modes of material nature. By thinking of the Lord, one becomes free from the modes of material nature. So Prithu Maharaj is reminding us of that in this passage, and he's saying that people who are liberated take to the path of devotional service, have acquired the ultimate goal of life. So and this actually has to be understood by persons who are on the path of devotional service, because even jnanis who are claiming to take to the path of like transcending material activities, they also do not get the satisfaction that the devotees receive by serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So we have examples from Srimad Bhagavatam where liberated personalities, liberated means those who are beyond the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Such persons are called as liberated personalities. Even liberated personalities take to the devotional service of the Lord. The examples are of the four Kumaras. The four Kumaras were liberated persons. And when they smelled the tulsi leaf that was being offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they immediately became attracted to rendering devotional service to the Lord, and they became bhaktas. That means devotees. And we also have the example of Sukadev Goswami, who was attracted to Brahman realization. But when his father, Vyasadeva, started reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, when he leaves home, he sends a messenger into the woods who was reciting the beautiful verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. He immediately became attracted to the devotional service of the Lord. So, so his reasoning and argument here, his reasoning basically is that if liberation was the highest, then such liberated personalities would not take to the devotional service of the Lord. It is logical, right? Whatever is the highest stage, people would want to stay in that highest stage. So if liberation was the highest achievement for a human soul, then Sukadev Goswami and the four Kumaras would not have taken to the devotional service of the Lord. So this proves that actually the happiness that the soul derives from liberation cannot even compare to the happiness that the soul derives by contemplating on the lotus feet of the Lord, by rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord. So, and Prabhupada is pointing to a word which is called as Atmananda. Atmananda means very insignificant in the presence of bliss derived from devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is also something that Srila Prabhupada has taught us, whatever Prithu Maharaj is suggesting to us in this verse. Prabhupada also said many times in many places that actually just by thinking of the Lord, it is complete devotional service. Therefore, we have deities. So we can think about the beautiful form of the Lord, keep the form of the Lord in our heart and carry it as an impression in our heart. So Chandramauli Maharaj, he often talks about it, that, one should take darshan of the deities and one should carry the impression of the darshan throughout the day. And just by thinking of the Lord, just by thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, that is complete devotional service. One does not need anything beyond that. And similarly, chanting the holy name of the Lord is also the highest form of devotional service, because the holy name and Krishna are non-different. So by being able to focus on the sound of Krishna's holy name, one becomes absorbed in the sound of the holy name. And actually, the sound of becoming absorbed in the sound of the holy name means becoming absorbed in meditating on Krishna. They're non-different. So Prabhupada gave us so many of these processes so that we can take to the activity of devotional service. And while it may not be easy for anyone to remember the form of the Lord throughout the day, but it comes with practice. It comes with practice. The more we practice dependence on the Supreme Lord, meditation on the Supreme Lord, meditation on chanting the holy name of the Lord, the mind and heart become more and more satisfied and peaceful. So this is what I wanted to share from this verse. And if anybody would like to add anything. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I don't think I can add anything else myself.
Hare Krishna. Is somebody speaking? I'm not able to hear. I'm so sorry.
Hare Krishna. I can't think of anything else to say. I think you pretty much covered it.
So, Prabhu, would you like to read the next verse?
Yep. Okay. I just have to plug in my phone. Just give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hang on a second. Okay, so verse 30, yes?
Yes, Prabhu. This is verse 30.
Okay.
Are you reading from the screen?
I'm reading from my own computer.
Okay.
Okay, so verse 30. Manye giram te jagatam vimohinim param vrineshete bhajanantam atayat bhajanutantya yadite janosita katam puna karma karoti mohita. Translation. My dear Lord, what you have said to your unalloyed devotee is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offer in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by the sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in fruitive activities, enamored by the results of their actions. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, a great acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has said that persons who are very much attached to the fruitive activities of the Vedas, namely Karma Kanda and Gyan Kanda, are certainly doomed. In the Vedas, there are three categories of activities known as Karma Kanda, fruitive activities, Jnana Kanda, philosophical research, and Upasana Kanda, worship of different demigods for receiving material benefits. Those who are engaged in Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda are doomed in the sense that everyone is doomed who is entrapped by this material body, whether it is a body of demigod, a king, a lower animal, or whatever. The sufferings of the threefold miseries of material nature are the same for all. Cultivation of knowledge to understand one's spiritual position is also, to a certain extent, a waste of time, because the living entity is an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. His immediate business is to engage himself in devotional service. Prithu Maharaj therefore says that the allurement of material benedictions is another trap to entangle one in this material world. He therefore frankly tells the Lord that the Lord's offerings of benedictions in the form of material facilities are certainly causes for bewilderment. A pure devotee is not at all interested in bhukti or mukti. The Lord sometimes offers benedictions to the neophyte devotees who have not yet understood that material facilities will not make them happy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord therefore says that a sincere devotee who is not very intelligent might ask for some material benefit from the Lord, but the Lord, being omniscient, does not generally give material rewards, but, on the contrary, takes away whatever material facilities are being enjoyed by his devotee, so that ultimately the devotee will completely surrender unto him. In other words, the offerings of benedictions in the form of material profit is never auspicious for the devotee. The statements of the Vedas, which offer elevation to heavenly planets in exchange for great sacrifices, are simply bewildering. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 2:42, the Lord says, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avi pashita. The less intelligent class of men, avi pashita, attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, engage in fruitive activities to become materially benefited. Thus they continue life after life in different bodily forms to search very, very hard. So a very instructive verse here, something that we talked about previously, how the Lord takes away everything from his devotee sometimes. And sometimes we see that devotees get a lot of opulence, a lot of facility, materially speaking. And they get bewildered by that. And the reason why is because when we're not engaging the material energy in the Lord's service, we are having a misunderstanding about it, and we think that all this energy is for my enjoyment, and they get into this enjoying mentality, and that's bewildering, because we can't find happiness if we're doing that. We're trying to find happiness in material facilities that the Lord provides. Then the Lord can actually take it away, and that's a great benediction. Actually, it's a great favor to the devotee, because he becomes surrendered again to the Lord, and he's able to make advancement. So we have to be very careful of this, that sometimes the Lord gives us material facility, even money or whatever it is. He gives us something material and to our benefit. And if we use that correctly, then we'll remain completely detached from it. We won't think of it as ours. We'll just think of it as, this is this has been loaned to me, this is on loan to me, this particular thing, and I need to use it correctly, and then, pass it on, and then receive something else. Yeah, so he also talks about the Gyanakandi, or the Gyanakanda position, where we understand actually that we're a spirit soul, and through knowledge we can understand who we are, but that's not enough. That cultivation of knowledge to understand our position is not enough. Prabhupada actually says here to a certain extent it's a waste of time, because if we don't engage in any sort of service to the Lord and we just stay on this jnana platform, knowledge of the self, then we're not reviving our relationship with the Lord. We're just understanding things intellectually speaking. And that's not enough to reestablish our relationship, just understanding something intellectually. So we have to actually engage in service, devotional service. Otherwise, we can just become entangled again. Even if we understand all these things, we actually come to the understanding of our position, we can't get out of the material world. We'll just be entrapped here. We'll stay within the material world. So, we're not interested in bhakti or mukti. Devotees don't want these things because they're bewildering, and they keep us here, and they keep us in this enjoying mentality that somehow or other within the material world we can enjoy somehow, or even liberation, impersonal liberation, a nothingness, just it's like considered spiritual suicide when we merge with the Brahmajyoti, because we don't have any relationship. There's no relationships with the Lord or with each other. We're just existing, and that's it. And that's kind of like a hell, because eventually, actually, we develop these desires to enjoy, and we come back down again anyway. We fall down from the Brahmajyoti. We fall down from that liberation. So it's a very, very, very rare thing that we actually come to this understanding that we need to surrender to the Lord, and we're very lucky to be in this situation ourselves. This is a very, very rare situation. We can, go through many millions of births, performing austerities and performing all sorts of ritualistic activities and so many things. And then when we get to this human form of life, and we surrender to the Lord, even after doing all these things, that's a very rare situation, extremely rare. And we should really understand how lucky we are that we are somehow engaged in chanting the holy names and engaged in devotional service in some form or other. And we have a chance to remember the Lord when we leave this body, because there's not many who come to this platform, as we can see in the world. And that's why it's very important that we actually distribute this mercy to these people who are not even qualified to be, anything close to a devotee. I certainly wasn't. I was just an ordinary person, but somehow or other, devotees can pick you up onto this platform of devotional service, and that's extreme mercy. That's real mercy, because otherwise we would have to go through lifetimes after lifetime speculating. Even if you come to this very advanced stage of Gyanakanda or beyond that, if you don't come to the position of devotional service, that's a waste of time. complete waste of time. And interestingly, it says in the purport here that the Lord sometimes offers these benedictions to neophyte devotees who don't understand the material facilities will not make them happy. So sometimes we get that. We can see in our own life or in other devotees' lives, they get some sort of material benediction, they get some material facility, and they try to enjoy that material facility. And then somehow or other it gets taken away. And if that happens, if they're intelligent, they'll understand that they just need to surrender, that they can't find happiness in all this stuff, all this material energy. So if this ever happens to us, that things get taken away, then we can understand that it's a impetus for us to surrender. It's a chance or opportunity for us to surrender, pray to the Lord to help us. And that's what the Lord wants. That's our relationship with the Lord, is this surrender, this love exchange between the devotee and his the Lord and his devotee, is this loving exchange of surrendering to the Lord, to the lotus feet of the Lord. I think that's about all I can say about that, unless someone else wants to say something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I am always very much intrigued, by this, that actually the material senses cannot satisfy us. But at the same time, although we understand that, at least I understand that, but at the same time, because of the ignorance that covers the soul, it's very easy to fall into that allurement. It's very easy to go pick up some sweets, or some given to YouTube or given to sleep. Although the devotees have the knowledge and information that such material temporary allurements or distractions cannot give satisfaction to the soul. Would you like to share something more about it?
Yeah, those are good points, but I can't think of anything else to say.
Okay. I see there are other participants on the call. There is Primarasa, and I don't know who else joined. It just says iPhone, so I don't know who it is. If anybody would like to share something. Okay, so should we stop here for today? It's close to 5:40.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, devotees, for joining. And we'll continue reading again tomorrow from text 31 onwards. And tomorrow
Okay.
is also a very auspicious day. It's the day when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjun on Ekadashi. So some of your local temples may be having some events to celebrate the occasion. So wishing you all a very, very happy Ekadashi tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.